So this 5K video recorder was sent to me at no charge for the purpose of this review, and this is a super nice little unit here. And I'm going to tell you everything that you get in the box, and then we're going to go through some of the settings on here, explain some of the things. We're going to give it a quality test and see how well it does up against my Sony CV1. So we've got a 5K camera here, so you can record in 5K, 4K, 1080p, 30 frames per second. You decide what you want. We're going to look at that here in just a moment. So you get the camera, microphone, your AV cable to connect your microphone to your camera, a remote control, and you can change all of your settings from the remote control. That's a huge big deal right there. You got two batteries, one's installed, one's right here. Then I also have a cable to connect me. Then I also have a charging cable and an HDMI cable so that we can play back on a TV or on a computer. We can also connect this Wi-Fi and use this for live streaming. So super nice feature. Not going to be able to check over everything today, just a few of the basics. You also get a wall plug. You got hoods for your macro and for your wide lens, and then you also get a carrying case, a lens cleaner, microphone manual, and your camera manual. And I would make sure that you get familiar with this so that you know just how to use it. Now, one thing that is not included, you got all this stuff. What would make this a stellar deal is if you had a memory card, but there is no memory card included, so you're going to have to provide your own. So let's come in close, take a look at this camera, all of the features, then we're going to set it up and see what kind of quality we get out of this bad boy. Okay, so we're going to do everything with the remote control here, and the remote has a night vision on it, power button. However, that power button only powers off. It does not power on. Then you can take your pictures, you can start your video, you can play back, you can zoom in, and you can go out wide. You got your up and your down buttons and your OK button. Again, this is another night vision button here. And then on the bottom, you got your mode and your menu. So the only thing that you cannot do is power it on from the remote control. So we're going to go ahead and turn that on, and I'll show you some of the settings that we have available to us. So what we have right now is we're looking at our Sony ZV-1, and then on the screen you can see that we have our video camera, we have our stabilizer, we have our settings of 1080p at 30 frames per second. By the way, you just saw a play button come up and a settings button come up. This is a full touch screen. You can see I have a card in here, my battery level, and then we also have some of these other settings down here at the bottom. It's going to tell you where you're at, and then your timestamp. So I'm going to start by first pressing my mode button, and my mode is going to allow me to choose my video camera and my loop record, time-lapse video, photos. I can, if I'm doing photos, I can do a self timer if I want to of 2 second, 5 second, and 10 second. Then I can do a photo burst where I can take a number of photos at one time, and then time-lapse photos. Pretty neat there. We're going to leave it on video because that's what we're going to be doing today. Now we're going to push our menu button. And in our menu button, this is just going to be for the video recorder. So I can pick my resolution. And I wanted to show you this, that on my resolution, I can go with a 720, 30 frames per second, 720, 60 frames per second, 1080p, 30 frames per second, or 60 frames per second, 2.7K at 30 frames per second, 4K, and then 5K as well. Menu button, we go back to the main menu. We have our image stabilization, and I've got that on just in case my table does shake for some reason. Image or exposure compensation, your date stamp. In this place, if we was to push our mode button again, we're going to go down to the settings. In the settings, I can turn on Wi-Fi so that I can do live streaming, my metering, which is going to focus either center, left, right, or wherever the object is. I've got it on multi-center. White balance, I'm just going to leave on auto. Then sounds, it's just going to be the beep. You can shut that beep off if you want to. You can turn it high, low, medium. There's your date and time setup. I've already done that. Auto power off. If you happen to forget to shut your camera off, it'll shut it off itself. Language. Then you can format card, which I highly recommend you do that. And then this is the version that we have. Now, when you get into your camera settings, you can change your resolution from 48 megapixel down to 36, 24, 20, all the way down to 5. So your choice, we're going to leave it at the default 36. Push our menu button again, and only on the photos can you change the ISO. And so I have my ISO set at 200, and then the quality is high. Okay, so the last thing we want to take a look at here, I'm just going to push my night vision button and give you a good look at that so that the screen actually turns gray. And while we're doing the recording, I will turn it to night vision so that you can see that. So we'll push our night vision button again, and we'll go back to our regular color, and we're going to get this set up next to the Sony ZV-1, this right here, so that if you are doing selfies, you can turn that completely around so that you can see the picture, and this does rotate, by the way. Okay, so the picture quality does not look all that bad in the camcorder, and the picture looks pretty good in my Sony ZV-1. If I was to do anything with this, I would probably go back and change the ISO, see if that made any difference. I kind of like the darker look in the background. That's not something I could do while I'm recording, and so we're just going to leave that recording how it is, and just let you know that it does have a good quality picture there. One of the things that I struggle with on these little camcorders is the audio, so I'm hoping that the audio is working well. I'm not going to change anything. This is going to be the raw audio. That's what you're going to get from the shotgun mic. Now the shotgun mic does need to be charged in order for it to work, and then you just need to play around with it and get the right frequency so that it records your audio to the very best. Now, what I really like about this is that this camcorder can record all the way up to 5K. You can do your pictures with this. You can use remote control. You can zoom in and you can zoom out. Now, the thing with the zoom is that you cannot hold your zoom button and zoom it in. You got to push it one zoom at a time, and then one zoom at a time back. Now you can play this back on your computer, on your laptop, or on your TV using the provided HDMI cable, and you can also use this camera for live stream. One thing that you cannot do with this is that you cannot pause while you are recording. You're going to have to stop recording and then make another recording and then splice the two when you go into your editing process. So really nice camera. I like it. I think that you're going to like it too, especially if you're into those handheld cams. And they do give you one of these little carriers, one of these little holders that you can attach your camera to, and then you can take it out like on a skateboard or driving or things of that nature and use it like that. So anyways, tons of features on there, tons of options, and it really does, these things do give really good quality, especially if I was to bump that up to 5K, but because of the space that 5K uses, I'm just going to record it at 1080p, 30 frames per second, and if the quality turns out good, I definitely recommend it.